we are recording on Zoom. Let's make sure the live stream is going to YouTube. And I believe it is. Let me just double check that real quick. And yeah, it looks like everything is working good. Let me make sure. There we go. All right. Hello, welcome to another installment of Get a Clue in 52. It's Sunday night, feeling right, 8 o'clock straight up Pacific time. I do not expect to be long tonight. First of all, there's nobody with me on the Zoom side, so there's no conversation if it stays that way. But also, I'm on my way to Vegas. As soon as tonight's tip is done, I'm going to be leaving and getting on the road to Vegas. I want to get there at a relatively decent hour, so I don't want to take forever tonight. And let's go ahead and get right into it. So Get a Clue in 52. This is I wrote this book in 2019, and last year in 2020 I began this string of Sunday nights where I would come on and I would read one tip from the book. And after I read through the whole book last year, I saw some things I wanted to improve, and so I created a second edition, rearranged some things, improved some things, and reformatted it and produced it a little bit better, in my opinion. And here we are in 2021 doing the same thing every Sunday night, reading a tip. There are 5 categories in the book, Get a Clue in 52. We started this year with 10 tips from the communication section. Then we moved on to marketing. There's 12 tips in marketing, which gave me a full year's worth, 52. Otherwise, it's just 10 tips per category. But after marketing, we went directly into networking, and then into sales, which is where we are now. And then we're going to finish up with accountability. Let me go ahead and say hello to Patty, who's coming on board with me tonight. As usual, she's usually here, not every single time, but somewhere in the high 80s, I would imagine, of the 90 something in a row that I've done. There's like 93 or something in a row, something like that. But Patty, just FYI, I am going to be driving to Las Vegas tonight after the tip, so I'm not going to belabor a huge conversation. But let's go ahead and get into a review of the tips from the sales section, which starts on page 80, 81-ish. Tip number 1 was to build rapport. Tip number 2 was to diagnose. Tip number 3 was to get leverage. Tip number 4 was to drop the SME, the subject matter expertise. Tip number 5, know your 1s, 2s, and 3s. Tip number 6 was develop multiple calls to action. Tip number 7 was keep it simple, salesperson, right? KISS, keep it simple, salesperson. And that brought us to last week. Tip number 8 was understanding DISC and motivators, behavioral styles, behavioral assessments, not necessarily to read, the style of the other person, but to adapt, right? You got to know who you are, and you got to make your adaptation to the person that you're speaking to. Let me go ahead and welcome Charlie as I blow my nose real quick. Hang on. All right, Charlie, as I mentioned, I'm going to be leaving to drive to Las Vegas as soon as the tip reading tonight is done. So I'm going to read the tip and maybe say hello to you guys for a minute or two. So start to formulate your most important question or contribution now. We'll have time for 1 or 2 comments or questions, and then I'm going to hope to keep it short for tonight, just keep the string alive, and then I'll get on the road so I can arrive in Vegas in a somewhat decent hour. But here we are, Get a Clue in 52. Tonight is tip number 41 overall, tip number 9 in the sales section. I just completed the review of the first 8 tips in the sales section, and on page 95, that brings us to tip number 9. True sales force. I believe you have a true sales force when you have people who are not on payroll selling for you. There are a couple of ways you can do this. First and foremost, make sure your customers are continuously blown away with value, service, selection, and special care. It is so much harder to get a new client than it is to keep a happy one. And happy clients usually refer people to you. Dr. Nito Cobain talks about levels of branding that starts at awareness and progresses to preference, insistence, and finally advocacy, where the customer/client not only insists on buying from you for themselves, but also insists that others, parentheses, friends, families, strangers on the subway, etc., do as well. Another way to create a true sales force is to find other people that also sell to your target prospects and white label your services so they can profit if they sell you to their customers. Sometimes this takes the form of affiliate relationships and joint ventures. I conduct behavioral assessments, which makes me the assessment guy for other organizations that know the value of assessments, but don't sell or conduct them on their own. Shout out to my friends at Workplace Training Network, Orange Leaf Consulting, Wolf Management Consultants, and iCoaching and Consulting, to name a few, all of whom look to me when they have clients needing assessment solutions. The classic networking group that does the classic networking group that does about as good a job as can be done with tip number 9 is BNI, Business Networking International. There are always drawbacks to any networking group, but I believe BNI has systemized the process of turning your networking group members into extended sales force for your business. Founder Ivan Meisner has written many books of the power and strategies of professional networking and expanding your informal, non-payroll sales force. And here's a picture of myself and my colleague Brian Trachel with Ivan Meisner at his hotel room in Las Vegas at a conference in 2009 when I was, let's just say 12 years younger. All right. So there it is. Tip number 9, true sales force. And I really like the first of those 2 major tips, which is you create, repeat, and refer customers. Be of such value that the people that are interacting with you have no choice but to come back and to refer others. Of course, the what's in it for me thing can work out as well. I've done very well in my career white labeling my services. I've got the Get A Klu brand, which I've built over the last 14 years, 15 years for my self-generated, but I also have the Coach Jeffrey brand, where other organizations have been able to sell what I sell me and make a markup on what I do, or hire me to conduct assignments that are unique and specific in nature. So I really am a big fan of wowing everybody that comes into your orbit and white labeling your services. Ronald Reagan said, and it's funny, I'm not in the habit of quoting Ronald Reagan, but he had a couple of good ones. And he said, it's amazing what can be done if it doesn't matter who gets the credit. And so I'm a big fan of that, on the white labeling revenue, right? It's a lot of times where it's not my name on the marquee, but I make a name for myself underneath somebody else's marquee, right? By delivering great value and allowing that organization to profit on my services when their customers get the help that they're looking for. So, there's other ways that we can expand on creating true sales force. But what I mean by it in my tip is people, making sure that other people are selling for you. In the case of white labeling, literally doing the sales for you, where you just show up and you deliver and somebody else has handled the sales. And of course, when you're serving people so well, wowing people and amazing people so much that they have to tell others, that's as good that it's easy to sell to a really warm and trusted referral than to 1,000 cold people all day long, right? So 8:08 p.m. I like I said, I'm going to be driving to Las Vegas in a little bit, but I always want to honor and respect the time that you guys are taking to come on board. So if you would, please open up your microphones and say hello, Patty, Charlie, and let me know if you have any questions or any comments, anything I can do for you in particular, or anything to add to what we've discussed tonight.
I will just say thank you and have a safe trip, because Las Vegas is a long way from San Diego.
Well, it can be a long way if you're comparing it to Carlsbad or LA, and even then it's not that much longer. If you compare it to New York or Chicago, it's a breeze. I'll be there in no time.
That's so true. It all depends on your perspective.
That's right.
Which is kind of part of the tip tonight, because your perspective for a salesperson that's not you can be really broad, right? I get some very great referrals from people because they've worked with me and they know that what I deliver is important for them, and they believe it'll be important for other people. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, it's wonderful when I'm about to sneeze again. Excuse me. Woo. All right. it's just one of the most wonderful things in the world. It's one thing when your customer says, thank you, you've helped me so much. That feels great, right?
Mhm.
It's something else when somebody says, hey, John Doe said, I really need to talk to you. I've been looking for somebody for a while, and they said that you've done an amazing job. And I mean, that feels so much better when you're referred to somebody because of the great job that you've done. It's an amazing feeling. It's an incredible validation. Because one, you're excited that you're going to get new business, right? And two, you're relieved that, that's like the best, the best way to reduce your marketing budget is to create good, referral customers, right?
Mhm.
And so you're relieved that business does, the cost of customer acquisition is low. It's exciting to get new business, but the fact that somebody that you've served is putting their name to yours and referring you, oh man, that's just the most wonderful thing. I love that. So yeah, perspective is important. I was going to say, Patty, when it comes to perspective, it's not just that you've done well serving, but I think I want to tip my hat to you. You've done what I want to say, an admirable job, like paying attention to how important it is to be able to describe you. You follow? Whether it's you describing yourself, and then of course others being able to really describe what you do, how you help, how it differentiates, why it's special. My hat's off to you, because I know how hard you've worked on that. And I think that that's something that's probably benefiting you now more than ever. I think people have the easiest time they've ever had really, really explaining what it is you do. And, it's all about inner business, right? Everything's an
Yes,
inside
it is.
job. And
Yeah.
I'm thrilled for you. It's wonderful.
Well,
Other comments or questions before I turn it over to Charlie?
hand off to Charlie.
Hand off to Charlie. Charlie, what do you got?
Hey, yeah, 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 yeah. Good evening to both you, Patty and Coach Jeff. Thank you very much as well, Coach Jeff, for making this time to share your knowledge and guidance with us. Could we say that Salesforce can also be the type of white labeling, but not really white labeling, more into collaboration? Would collaboration fit into that category as well?
In a sense, right? In a sense, because let me tell you that I could tell you that neither the Atlanta Braves nor the Coca-Cola company made this cup, the actual physical plastic cup, right? It was made by another company, but Coca-Cola and the Braves collaborated on being the vendor of choice inside that stadium, which meant that both of their logos, so the cup is being white labeled in collaboration with these brands that we see. So a collaboration it's not pure white labeling though, right? In the way that I meant it. You follow? Pure white labeling would be, this is really a great example of white label. You follow? Like, Atlanta Braves put their logo onto this cup. Atlanta Braves didn't make the cup. They bought the cups, but they bought them with their label on them, right? Collaboration might be like, let's say you're the global connector, right? And I'm world-class coach, right? The Integrity Game or Get a Clue, whatever, right? Whatever brand I'm representing. But when we come together, we're going to create something new that's not named either you or me. Right? When I think of a collaboration, I think we might create the novel networking nuance, right? Triple N. That's our new thing. Novel networking nuance. World-class coach, communication professor and global connector. We're bringing you the novel networking nuance, the Triple N on Friday night. So now we're collaborating on bringing something new that isn't, you follow? So now we have to come up with a new name of something that features both of us. So it doesn't hide our label. I still get to promote my Get a Clue or my Integrity Game. You still get to promote the Global Connector, but we are collaborating on this new thing that we're both promoting. And then it promotes us. And so that's more of a collaboration. Does that make sense?
Got you. I was just wanting to clear up because it says somebody does cleaning of sneakers and then collaborates with someone who's doing laundry. So that person who gets their laundry clients refers the sneaker business to get their sneakers cleaned the other side.
Yeah.
Like
So
they're not in partnership, they're not creating another
Yep.
brand. They're just collaborating with each other to says, I'll
Well,
get you business and
yeah.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's just a matter of semantics here. Let me clear it up for you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. It's
Got
just a
you.
matter of semantics. So you're in the right. I don't call it a collaboration because, right? If let's say, um, let's say I offer a sales class, right?
Yeah.
But I don't offer the networking class. You offer the networking class. You teach people how to network. I teach them how to sell. So they come
Yeah.
to me and I say, hey, you know what? Before I teach you how to sell, you really got to go learn how to network with Charlie. Then you'll have more to sell to. So now I'm a referral partner, or you
Okay.
are you're like what I call a deliverable team. You're part of my deliverables team. If I ever have
Okay.
somebody that needs something that I'm not the one doing the work of giving it to them,
Yeah.
then it's a referral partner or it's a deliverable, meaning I
Oh,
like
got
being
you.
somebody that can make a referral anywhere in somebody's life. If you need a financial advisor, I can recommend 3. If you need, an insurance person, I can recommend 3. If you need a mortgage broker, a real estate agent, do you need a dentist? Do you understand? So what I call that is my deliverables team. So in the course of doing my business, when I learn that there's a need, I can give trusted referrals, right? Do you need a lawyer?
got
Do you
you.
need a right? So me, I refer to it as my deliverables team. Okay. The other thing, and so referral partners, deliverables, right? The reason I don't use collaboration is collaboration, co-labor. It's when both people are
Yeah.
doing
You got to
work.
be doing it together.
You bingo.
Okay.
Right. So if I say, hey, you know what, Charlie and I are going to collaborate on a networking course, then we're going to collaborate on a sales course, and you need to take both of our courses. Now you and I are both doing work. Do you follow? We're collaborating on the work that we're doing. So I would say that Vipul, for example, who's been on at times. Charlie, I know you've met Vipul. He and I collaborate, right? Like he brings. Sometimes he gets client opportunities, people that want coaching, and he doesn't necessarily want to do all 12 of the sessions. So he'll bring me in as a collaborator. Does that make sense? We're both working on a particular. Oh, we've lost Charlie. He might jump back on, but I think he understood the point. There he comes. Charlie, I think you understood the point that we're making there is that.
I don't know if it was you knocking off, but I got just suddenly knocked off for a bit, but I got most of the gist of you.
Yeah, it was you that got knocked off, and yeah, I believe you got the point as well. Co-labor, both people are doing the work. If it's a referral partner, or you know what I like to say, it's a channel partner, a referral partner, a deliverable team, then we get into joint venture or a licensee, as I do. I've got people that have licensed my content that are then delivering it, but I was still, even though somebody licensed my content, I would still work on that project I'll collaborate with them on making their investment a success, right? So basically collaborate, co-labor. Otherwise, referral is I'm sending it out, or channel partners, I'm sending it along a channel to a trusted place where they can do that work. And then sometimes this is just done shake of hands. Like the guy that came the other day to clean all of our windows, he referred us to a glass company to get the window panes that were loose and letting moisture inside, right? So I asked him, I said, hey, do you guys have an arrangement? Do you have a particular glass place that you want me to call? Because sometimes in those groups, right? Like you said, like the shoe person with the laundry person, or the electrician with the electrician with the plumber,
with the bricklayer, with the tiler.
So they're called like I think at BNI they call them power teams. Yes. Right. Team, like think about a real estate transaction, right? And then you got the realtor, the mortgage broker, the estate planning attorney, the financial advisor, the insurance person. Everybody's interested in that real estate transaction. So if people all in those verticals get to know and like each other really well, then they become deliverables team for each other. It's really common in real estate where people have their go-to title reps that they bring on to deals, or their go-to lenders, or their go-to realtors, or their go-to trust attorneys, with that, right? So strong referral partners is one way to create really good sales force. As a matter of fact, I've been referred to a lot of people that were in each other's power teams. One time, a realtor that I coached referred me to a lawyer that refers business back and forth to each other, right? So they're already a power team, and they're like, got it talking. Oh, you have a coach? Who's your coach? Oh, my coach is Jeff. Next thing I know, my client has somebody in his power team that now I'm coaching as well. And then that's really fun when you get in and you're the trusted coach in people's power teams, right? And we all know now, by the way, it's important for me to say this, that coaching is just one of the things on my menu. I don't even like referring to myself as a coach, but I got really, 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 really good at it. And there's more. I'm a trainer. I'm a writer. I'm a speaker. I'm a curriculum strategist and thought organizer. There's so many things I do with this communication degree up here. Coaching is certainly one of them. All right, Charlie might come back, especially for a Kluby snack, Patty. I got to get right to the Kluby snack before we lose him again, right?
Do you have one? Because I found one.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's see if he comes back on. I mean, I wrote something down, but I was expecting you to have one. Yeah. I mean, because I remember we did one earlier. But
this one's really short, and I don't know if we used it. Punctuality is a matter of accountability.
I love it. I love it.
Coach Lombardi came up with that. No.
All right, Charlie. Charlie, are you back?
He's not unmuted.
Charlie, are you back? Unmute. We'll wrap up for tonight.
Good. I got you. I got knocked off there, so I didn't get the tail end of that. But I've got the understanding, the co-labor, the deliverable teams, etc., and the power teams.
Well, let's move on and get you a Kluby snack so I could wrap up and get on the road. Are you ready?
That was going to be my next request.
We know you're consistent, and we love that. Are you ready? Patty offered one. It's very simple. It's very brief. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Punctuality is a matter of accountability.
You make me think about my dad. If he said we leave at 8 o'clock, he does not, whether you come running by the gate, 8 o'clock sharp, he starts the vehicle and he leaves. If you're not in that car, you will chase the car up to the stop street and please pray that he has to stop. And the other opposite going direction vehicles are having him to stop. Otherwise, he's going to leave you right there.
Yeah. So
I love that one.
Yeah. If you want to make it fun, right? You want to make it fun, like to, lubricate it a little bit. I always say, make room for Murphy. That's definitely a Kluby saying. Make room for Murphy, and then you could say because punctuality is a matter of accountability. All right. Make room for Murphy. Murphy's coming. better set a place for him. All right, you guys. That's another installment of Get A Klu 52. It was tip number 41 overall, tip number 9 in the sales section. Next week, we'll do number 10 in the sales section, which closes it out. And then 2 weeks from now, we actually start the accountability section. So tonight's tip was a nice little teaser preview that accountability's coming. So is Murphy. But that's all right. We always make room for Murphy on Sunday night. Nobody crowds us too much on Sunday nights. I love you guys so much. Let's seal it with a kiss. We'll see you next week. Mwah. Love you guys. Thank you.
Have a great week, both of you.